A few weeks ago, I made a video about buying and setting up this printer, the Canon Pro 2600, and that video has done really well. It's been watched by about 175,000 people. That's not good. There's nothing worse than some idiot on the internet trying to encourage you to print more whilst going out and spending $2.5 grand on a monster printer such as the 2600, or somebody trying to encourage you to go out and shoot landscape photography and saying that gear doesn't really matter whilst shooting with a Hasselblad X2D and numerous lenses. You get my point, right? It just seems, I don't know, let me know what I'm trying to say in the comments below, but it's not quite right, is it? Yet the fact remains that 175,000 people watched that video, which tells me there are a lot of people interested in printing. However, I'm guessing, and I could be wrong, but I'm guessing 175,000 people are not going to go out and buy a 4.5 ton, 9 foot wide Canon Pro 2600 that costs $2.5 grand. Well, in today's video, I'm going to try and remedy that with this. A Canon Selphy, which I personally think is the worst name for a printer that I've ever heard. It's just like, it's trying too hard, it's trying to be cool. It's like aimed at TikTokers or something, yeah, take a selfie. The value in this comes with the value in printing your work. And by the way, absolutely 1,000 times not sponsored by Canon. I bought this with my own money so that I could make this video, which is supposed to be a more approachable video about printing and the benefits of printing your work. Now, my reason for choosing this particular printer over the hundreds of potential more affordable printers on the market is, well, basically I Googled like cheap, easy printer, and this one just came up time and time again. It cost me £100, which is about $50 US. A little joke about the state of the British economy there. And I'll be honest with you, I've done very little research, but the research that I have done tells me that this should be a simple plug and play system where this could sit on your desktop and you could print images without any effort, any calibration, just plug, play, go. So the ink cartridge and the paper is loaded into the printer. The printer is plugged into my computer with a USB-C cable. I've not had to install any drivers or anything of the sort. My computer could immediately see the printer. Lightroom can see the printer, and I'm going to print from Lightroom, making sure that my paper size is set up for this, which is 4:6. Well, that's the ratio. The paper size is 100mm by 148mm. Now, the whole idea of this is to be plug, play, easy, simple, don't even think about anything. So other than my monitor being calibrated, which I would recommend everybody do, I'm not doing anything. I'm letting the printer manage the colors, so no paper profiles. I believe, although I'm not sure, that you can only get one paper type with this printer anyway, which is like a glossy paper. So everything, all your results should be fairly consistent, but we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna print our first image and see what we get. Well, that went almost perfectly. I accidentally told the printer to print 7 images instead of 1, so I had to cancel the print on its third go. But that went as well as I could have hoped. Like, the whole thing with this printer and this video is that I just wanted it to be plug, play, easy. No downloaded drivers, no getting paper profiles, no making proof prints or anything like that. Just have an image, file, print, job done, easy. And that's exactly what we did. It's not perfect. It's probably about a 90% match, and I'm pretty certain that I could faff on and get it almost perfect. But that's kind of not the point. Like, we're not selling prints here, and we're not necessarily making big display pieces for our wall. All we're doing is making physical pieces of our work. One of the great things about this printer is that you're never going to run out of ink, because when you buy your paper packs, that includes a cartridge to print exactly that number of sheets of paper. All right, so before I forget, so a couple of weeks ago when I made that video about setting up my big printer, I made a huge print and I said I was going to give it away. At Diane Snowflake, I've commented on your comment hoping that you would claim this, but there's been no reply. So please reply to that comment and get in touch, and this print is yours. If you're watching, I really hope you're watching. I'm really happy so far with how these prints are coming out, but I would be lying if I said that the colours were perfect. They're not. Some of the colours are off, and it seems that a lot of the images have a bit of a green hue to them. Now, I noticed about 3/4 of the way through this batch print that I had matte paper selected, so I changed that to glossy, and it made no difference whatsoever. Now, I really don't want to go messing on with paper profiles, but I thought I would try directly printing from an SD card, so I exported an image from Lightroom onto an SD card. It was just a JPEG, plugged that into the printer itself and printed directly from that SD card. It turns out that printing from an SD card seemed to correct that green hue, but everything I'm saying now is so minute and most people wouldn't notice. I'm nitpicking, man. I'm looking at these through a microscope. I'm being super critical, and I shouldn't be. That is not the idea of this video, and that should not be the idea of this printer. Now, before I get into this, let me quickly thank the sponsor of this video, which is Squarespace. Now, if you don't know who Squarespace are, they're an all-in-one website building platform where you can log on and you can build your own professional looking website with zero web coding experience. You don't need to know anything because they have a very simple drag and drop system. They even have AI to help create your copy and some of your design. Your website will do everything you expect of a modern day website, from registering your own domain, having an online store, having an online gallery, even your own members area. It can do it all. So if you fancy giving that a go to squarespace.com/Heaton and you'll get a free trial. And if you like that free trial, use the offer code Heaton for 10% off your first purchase. This has been something that I have wanted for ages. I've got to say, it's nice to get something like this done. I wish I had better handwriting, I really do. But anyway, it doesn't matter. This printer has so many applications. Not everyone can afford or has space for a big printer like this, or even one of the smaller desktop printers like a Pro 100, Pro 1000, that kind of thing. They're still big and they're expensive, and the ink costs are expensive. So you start to sort of there's a bit of a barrier to printing. Every time you do a print, you think, oh, this is going to cost me, it's going to be a sheet of paper. It all adds up. Whereas something like this, and we'll get on to the costs and the price per print in a minute, but to me, having something, it's not perfect, but it's plug and play and it's easy. That is fantastic. That is going to encourage you to print. It's going to encourage you to make things. And the beauty, like some of the use cases for this printer would be, if you're thinking about making your own book or making your own zine, you could print out, tons of your work, just like I've done here. And then you can lay them out and you can put them in different orders and next to each other and see what works and what doesn't work. Another great example, when you take an image and you like it, but you're not sure if you love it and you go back and forth on the image, well, just printing it out and sticking it on the wall and just living with the image day to day. Not on a screen, but in a room in day-to-day life. Then you'll soon learn if you love it or not. And it can be great for educational purposes because you can start to study images more closely in more detail and figure out what went wrong. Why don't you like the image? What's bugging you about it? So just having a physical thing in your day-to-day life, it's very beneficial. Another reason, memories. I have lots of photographs of landscapes I've taken, but I don't really have any prints or any photographs of just times I've enjoyed. I drove my van to Iceland just last year, well, the year before last, now that we're in 25, and it was one of the best trips I've ever done. And I've got some cool photographs of my van in Iceland. Got a great video, by the way, which I'll link to it below. It's a really good video if you haven't seen it, where I took my van from the UK to Iceland, but it was such a good time and something I'll never forget. So, just having a nice little memory of it like this, even if it does look like a toddler has scribbled all over it, this is a nice thing to have. And I will hang this somewhere in my office and it'll just remind me of, not to sound cheesy, but remind me of a great time. Right, let's do a summary of the Canon I can't say it, it's the worst name ever. Let's do a summary of the lovely little printer here sitting on my desktop. It's great. Like, I think every photographer should print their own work. It's very satisfying and you can learn a lot, you can create a lot. It encourages photography. It's like this great cycle to get your prints in physical form. It encourages you to go out and continue creating, which is only a good thing. And at £100 for the unit, I think it's great value. Think what we spend on lenses and filters and bodies and software. This is nothing. This is pennies in comparison to what we could spend. I also think it looks great. It's just the perfect little size to sit on your desktop. And if you wanted to, you could travel with this no problem. Why not? Shove this in your van or put it in a suitcase. Imagine going on a photography trip to South America and having this in your suitcase and getting back to your hotel room and making little prints of your trip. Giving those to people, friends you've made. Man, that would be fantastic. You could even run this from a battery. In fact, I think Canon make a battery for this, but my understanding is it's like double the price of the printer, so probably not worth it. However, printing on the road, man, that might actually be the biggest reason to get one of these. Print quality. The print quality is good. It's fine. The colors are a bit inconsistent. It definitely favors blues, and the more muted colors like this one, it'll get absolutely spot on. Whereas anything that's a bit saturated like this, or something that has warmer colors like this, struggles and you're not going to get a perfect match. Not without going into some ICC profiles and trying to finesse everything and spending ages faffing, which really is not the point of this printer. What is the point of this printer is that it's plug and play, another Pro. Plug it in, no installation of drivers, nothing like that. It just worked, or at least it did for me anyway, and I'm using a MacBook Pro. You can print directly from your computer, you can print from your phone, you can print from an SD card. There's loads of different ways that this will spit out an image for you, so that's a good thing. So what about the negatives of this printer? Well, as I've already mentioned, color reproduction can be a little bit hit and miss. But really, that's not the point of this printer. Most of the time, it actually gets it pretty much spot on. The point of this printer is not to get perfectly matching prints to your monitor. It's not and never going to be a professional printer whereby you could sell your prints. Now, as far as I'm aware, but let me know in the comments, I could be wrong, I think this only comes with glossy paper, which is a bit of a shame. It's not terrible, but yeah, it'd be nice to see a matte paper. And as well as that, it comes with these little tabs on the side, which you can break off like so. But in doing so, I've got fingerprints all over my print now. So it's a minor negative, I don't know, just wear gloves, I suppose. There we go. Right, we are nitpicking now, but another minor negative is that the paper is quite thin, which is nice as a photograph, but if you wanted to make a card for someone, like a postcard, for example, and write something on the back and send it in the mail, yeah, you can't really do that. It's a bit too thin. But get a bit nitpicky there, I think. In case you're wondering, the screen on it is not a touch screen, which is a little bit of a negative. The menu system, although simple, was a little bit clunky using the buttons to go back and forward, but it's 100 quid, man, 100 quid, come on. But let's forget about that initial investment, because I bought this, which is a box of 108 sheets of paper, which cost me £36, so that's 33 pence per print. Now at 33 pence a print, I am not going to hesitate to making prints and testing different colours and seeing what works and spreading them around my room and putting them on a pinboard and making memory frames. You know, 36 pence per print is just, it's fine, it's great. It's going to encourage me to print and print more and more, which is going to benefit my photography. So I really cannot at all complain about the price. I'll be annoyed if those prices go up, which inevitably they will. I think they're a bit more if you buy a smaller, I bought 108. You can also buy them in packs of maybe 32 or something like that, where it works out at about 40 odd pence per print. But if you get a big box like this, 33 pence, which isn't bad. Now, I'm not going to be keeping this printer, I'm going to give it away inside of the 617 Club. So if you're curious about what the 617 Club is, well, it's my photography community. There is a link below where you'll find all of the information, but we have photo challenges, we have giveaways just like this, we have meetups and this kind of thing, and there's prizes with the photo challenges, and there's a great group of people in there, a really fantastic community. So I'd encourage you, if you're really into your photography, to go and check that out. Yeah, the Canon Selphy is a great little toy. Definitely worth thinking about for a quick, easy and fun way to enjoy your photography even more.